Good afternoon, everybody. My name is T. Russell Hunter. I'm here with James Silverman, and we are making a video about something that is uniquely destructive going on in the broader anti-abortion political realm of the United States of America. But first, before we get into that, you may be someone who's watched a lot of reels on this channel, lots of street interaction and that sort of thing, and you've seen me talking to pro-aborts, pro-choicers out there on college campuses or city streets. This is the sort of day job, right? So this is James Silverman. You may have seen him in some of those videos, but he is with Abolitionist Rising as well, and does a lot of our sort of news and views work, what's going on in the broader anti-abortion world. And today, this video is very important. We're going to talk about House Resolution 464, which is the latest and greatest move on the part of the pro-life establishment / movement. And yeah, let's just start out with it. What is House Resolution 464?
So, House Resolution 464 was filed by Congressman Doug Lamborn earlier this week. And if you read the title of it, you might think, well, this is not so bad. It says, acknowledging that unborn children are legal and constitutional persons who are entitled to the equal protection of the laws. Now, that equal protection of the laws is something that we as abolitionists have talked about quite a bit on podcasts, at our rallies at the Capitol, all those sorts of things. So you might think, well, this is good. I actually had an abolitionist send this to me over Twitter saying, hey, check this out. This is amazing, you know. And so that's why one of the reasons we're doing this is because it does look good on the surface.
And for the past few months or so, various people with Live Action and other pro-life groups that are maybe supporting this move have been telling abolitionists, hey, we're actually kind of with you on the equal protection thing. We're cooking up something we think you're going to like. And so abolitionists have kind of been, what is it? What is this going to be? Are pro-lifers and abolitionists going to start working together on equal protection? And so we've been kind of holding our breath and waiting to see what that is. And it finally dropped a few days ago, and that is House Resolution 464. So continue on. Okay, so what is it?
Right.
It doesn't just do that. That's the title. That's what it says. What does it do?
Yeah, so it begins with some language, stuff that we wouldn't really object to, stuff that's largely good stuff. We may word it a bit more strongly, a bit more directly, or we may add some different foundations that weren't included. But generally, this is good information. Stuff about the Declaration of Independence, stuff about the Constitution, and how abortion is not consistent with either of those things rightly understood. Generally good information all the way through the Creator, natural rights, all these things. And this is why people thought this was a very good thing. But if you get all the way to the very end, on page 6 here, resolved number 3. Here's where we get to the real fine print. That's very important to just read the whole thing, because here is the poison pill. Resolve 3, that the House of Representatives acknowledges our constitutional duty and solemn obligation to guarantee the equal protection of the laws to every unborn child within the jurisdictional and geographic reach of the Constitution, which shall not be construed to permit the prosecution of any woman for the death of her unborn child. So what it's saying is that the Constitution itself shall not be construed to permit the prosecution of any woman for the death of any amount of her unborn children, right? And so they're saying, they're actually rooting this argument.
It's blanket immunity for mothers who murder their babies through abortion.
Which, in essence, is the right to abortion. Right?
And
if you can do something without being prosecuted or penalized in any way, and you have that constitutional right, then you have the right to do that thing.
And this is a resolution of the United States House of Representatives basically saying this should be the federal law. So this is saying no state in the United States of America may prosecute any mother who murders a child if they're the one who chooses the abortion and carries it out by ordering a pill and taking it.
Yeah, and a very important piece to understand as we're talking about all this, because there may be people who are saying, well, what if we just prosecute the abortionist? We don't necessarily have to prosecute the mother. If you're thinking that right now, you need to go back and watch. Well, you need to read God's word first. And after you read God's word, see what he says about justice. You need to go back and watch our video on YouTube and Facebook. Abortion is still legal in all 50 states.
Yeah.
Because what we did is we actually, here in Oklahoma, where abortion is outlawed, right? We ordered abortion pills with a few clicks of the button, strawberry flavored, right? Abortion pills to our office. And there was nothing illegal about anything that we did.
Yeah.
It was all perfectly in line with all of the pro-life abortion bans here in the state of Oklahoma. And so again, if you're protecting the woman's right to do it without any prosecution, the reality of abortion technology is such that they will be able to manage their own abortions without the help of any abortionist.
And this is the current abortion, and this is the future of abortion in America.
Yes.
You understand that right now it's easier to get your abortion pills in the mail and take them without anybody knowing than it ever was going to an abortion clinic to get that pill, or going to an abortion clinic to have an abortion surgery carried out. So this is how abortions are being done in pro-life states like the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma, we know, before we even ordered pills, we knew that Oklahoma is among the top 5 states ordering pills.
Yeah, and that's from a study done by the Journal of the American Medical Association, published, I believe, last November or December.
Yeah.
And yeah, it found.
So we already knew that. So we went ahead and ordered them. Okay, how easy is this? And when we went to try to find abortion pills, not only could we find them, we found people that were willing to pay for them and get them to us, even if we had no money. So abortion is still going on, and the main way that it's going on is self-managed abortion. It's mothers ordering pills. And that is the current way that abortions are happening, probably number one, and it's the future of abortion. And here we have pro-lifers coming in, writing this House resolution saying, moving forward, after Roe v. Wade, in keeping with Dobbs, moving forward, no state shall prosecute mothers who murder their babies in the way that mothers are now murdering their babies. So because of this, guys like Bradley Pierce of the Foundation to Abolish Abortion have said, hey, this is Roe 2.0.
Yep.
This
is Washington, D.C. telling the states, you may do nothing to stop abortion. Like you said, the way that abortion is happening nowadays, you may do nothing to stop it. And this is from Doug Lamborn, right? And Live Action is saying that this is a good thing. We'll talk about a little bit about exactly what Live Action is now saying about it. But they're saying this is a good thing, and this is pro-lifers, right?
Yeah. A
lot of pro-life congresswomen who have put their name on this thing. This is from the pro-life movement saying states may not, in essence, may not prohibit abortion.
Yeah, and so they're calling this to move on to how they're praising this. Of course, Live Action is praising this on their blog and their platforms, their tweets, all that sort of thing. And they are calling it the new North Star of the pro-life movement. This is the new strategy moving forward.
And to be specific, they're quoting Doug Lamborn in all their press releases.
Yeah,
so
Doug Lamborn, the principal author,
right,
the guy who filed it in Congress.
He said, the Recognizing Life resolution is the new North Star that will guide future legislation and set the precedent for our nation to secure equal protection for unborn children and preserve the sanctity of life. Now, that's a Lila Rose tweet, and that was a quote that was included in the Live Action press releases. And so this is kind of, being said by both Live Action and by Doug Lamborn, that this automatic blanket immunity for all mothers, this constitutional right to abortion is the new North Star for the pro-life movement. And again, if you don't believe us, if you think that that's not an accurate way, that that's an exaggeration, you have to go watch our YouTube video, Abortion is Still Legal in All 50 States. You cannot watch that video and understand it and say that what we're saying is an exaggeration, because it's not.
It's not. See, the funny thing is, it's not really a new North Star. It's the same old North Star, just repackaged and put out. Because, see, the pro-life movement has, for the past 50 years, defended mothers and their choice and basically gone after the abortionist, as though the abortionist wakes up and goes and finds babies to kill. as though it hasn't always been mothers and fathers bringing babies to them. So the pro-life movement's long been wrong about this, but they've indoctrinated people to believe that it is somehow wrong to go after aborting mothers, go after, prosecute women. They use all this charged language. They've taught people that that's what, we shouldn't do. And so now here we are post Roe, and they're like furthering their indoctrination. Like, we have to do the thing that we've taught people to believe is so good.
Now, I think it's also important to get into some of the backstory so people understand the whole context of how this resolution got to be really as evil and as pro-abortion as it is. So people who are familiar with abolitionism, you may be familiar with the open letter that was written to oppose the abolition bill in Louisiana, which made it out of committee, made it onto the floor of the House in Louisiana. Oppose
it because it would prosecute
women.
Women, yeah.
Yeah, and so nearly all of the pro-life leaders got together and said, look, we have to come together and oppose this bill. And so they published this joint open letter from 76 different major pro-life organizations. Now, one
conspicuously missing from that list was
Live Action. Live Action was the only major pro-life group that did not agree with that position of women being completely immune in all cases. Now, ideologically, they don't agree with that. But here's what happened. They submitted this resolution to Representative Doug Lamborn for him to introduce. Without telling Live Action, Doug Lamborn circulated the resolution to other pro-life groups and said, hey, I don't just want to take Live Action's word for it. I want to know what the other pro-life groups think. Susan B. Anthony List, who's probably at this point probably the most influential group, at least with congressmen, got back to Lamborn and said, you basically have to put this clause in here about how the Constitution prohibits the prosecution of any woman for any abortion.
What James called the poison pill, that part.
Right.
You need to put this poison pill in there or pro-lifers will not support it.
Yep. And so Doug Lamborn takes Susan B. Anthony's word for it, probably not even understanding yet that Live Action wouldn't agree with it. So he puts that in there and shows it back to Live Action. Live Action says, no, we don't agree with that. You shouldn't put that in there. Here's why. Here's why it's constitutionally incorrect. It's morally incorrect. We disagree. Please don't put that in there. He says, no, I'm going to put it in there, and I'm going to file this thing basically no matter what you say. Now, what Live Action should have done, and this is something that we as abolitionists have done time and time again in the past, like when we've brought an abolition bill to somebody,
they should have said, all right, well then we're done. We're going to oppose it.
And that's what we've done. We've had interactions with legislators where they say, okay, we like your bill, but we're going to add this, change this, do this here. And we say, no, you're not. And
if you stand up
and if you do that, we're going to oppose it. Live Action, instead of doing that, they are still calling this the new North Star.
Yeah,
they're still saying this is good without any no qualification whatsoever.
So we have had conversations with Live Action in the past, and we know that this wasn't their intention, that this clause got added, and that this is something they have kind of said that they would oppose. And they didn't sign on to with the letter that James talked about earlier. But what happened here is that whenever they had an opportunity to stand up,
for their principles,
for the principles, they decided not to, and for pragmatism, to go ahead and praise it. Because it's not like they're being open about like, oh, this is now bad. They're actually doing the opposite.
Or even being nuanced and saying, hey, this part of it's good, but this part of here we're not big fans of. It's just,
now they may come along
praise.
They might come along in the future and say, now this part of it is not something that we like.
Right.
But it's like, no. Like, what you're saying doesn't matter. What you've done here is you've taken action to praise House Resolution 464. You've said it's the North Star.
You said a constitutional right to abortion.
And you've used your platform to tell everybody this is a beautiful, great new thing. Yeah. So we don't really care. If there's basically Live Action has kind of outed themselves, basically saying we have our principles, but if we have to shove them for pragmatism in order to be in bed with a congressman and have the new North Star, we will do it. So if you've been kind of looking at Live Action and thinking, are they abolitionist? No. Neither in principle or in action.
Yeah, and again, the problem here, the reason this is so dangerous is because, again, this isn't a law, this is a resolution. But this is a resolution calling for a law, right? And a law that is passed.
If they passed one, it would be devastating.
Right, that reflects the sentiments of this resolution. States would be federally prohibited from outlawing abortion.
Yeah.
And that really, and again, that's why Bradley called this Roe 2.0. This would be truly, I mean, this would be the most devastating thing to happen to preborn children since Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
Were a law like this to be passed in Congress. So this is really dangerous stuff. And so we need people to, one, understand how dangerous it is, and two, to help get the word out about how dangerous it is. And so please share this video, create your own content along these lines to really expose this stuff. Because there's a lot of people, even abolitionists or abolitionist-leaning people who follow us on social media and these things, who are thinking that this is a really good thing. And it looks, you read 98% of it, it looks good.
Yeah, if you just speed read it, you're busy, you just speed read it and you're like, woohoo, you see the key buzzwords, equal protection, this is a good thing. But again, what we need you to do is get the word out, no, it's not a good thing. Almost to the point of, like, you need to be tagging Live Action, you need to be tagging Representative Lamborn, anyone else who signed in at the top of the document. You need to be calling them, emailing them, basically saying, no, this is trash. You've undermined your whole project. This isn't the North Star. This is like a 10-star. Flick it away. This is bad. To abandon it. It almost needs to be on Twitter so lampooned. Like, the comment sections need to be so full of dissatisfaction that groups like Live Action and the representatives who might sign in on this are kind of like, oh, yikes. They need to be embarrassed by this.
Yeah, and so we will put the link to some different Twitter threads that you can go engage with that have been praising this resolution in the description of this video. And we would also ask you to call Representative Lamborn and just explain that you are anti-abortion, you are an abolitionist, you want to see abortion abolished, but when you read this, you see something that does protect abortion, that would protect, that really champions a constitutional right to self-managed abortion. This is truly a pro-abortion resolution, and that you are extremely disappointed and angry that Representative Lamborn would file a resolution like this.
Yeah, Rep Lamborn, he went and he heard from Susan B. Anthony, and they told him something along the lines of, "Ooh, pro-lifers will not go for this. You better put this in there."
Yep.
He needs to now hear from people all over the United States of America, you know, don't call yourself a pro-lifer, don't play that game. Just say, be clear, I am opposed to abortion. Abortion's murder. I'm for the abolition of abortion. This is not a good strategy. This is laughable. This is bad. This is evil. Say whatever you're going to say. But we're going to put his phone number right here. You should fill up his answering machine with just message after message after message, just basically saying, bad move, dude. So he can go back to Susan B. Anthony and be like, hey, I think you were kind of wrong. Like, the American people do not like this. And by the American people, I mean the people who are most interested in criminalizing abortion. So it's 202-225-4422. Call repeatedly. Fill up his inbox.
That's right. So once again, we appreciate you guys for watching this video. Please subscribe for more like it in the future. There's stuff like this happening, all like this. You know, there's a unique danger to this House resolution and to this pro-life initiative. But there's stuff like this coming out of the pro-life establishment constantly. It's always coming out, and there's always things that look good but are really bad if you look closely. And we're here to help you guys understand those things.
Yeah, because their foundation is corrupt. Usually their plans are corrupt. And because they're willing to sell out their principles for political gain, this stuff is happening all the time. So we usually have a podcast format where we can regularly do this, and we'll get that back. So thank you guys for watching this video. We know it's different than the videos that we normally post, but we need to be posting more and more content like this, and you need to be engaging with it and taking action. There's conversations to have on the street, but there's conversations that you need to be having with your local, state senators and representatives and governors and also your congressional leaders. So very important that you take action on this. So get out there, tweet, email, call, spread the word. Don't let this new North Star hang in the sky very long.